Hello, and it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the weatherman on the moose, and on our journey today, I watched Scott Pilgrim and played a little bit of Call of Duty, and Ryan played the Persona Tactica, and there's probably no news for us to talk about. So we're going to talk about video games here on the Xbox Drive. So jump on into the Xbox Drive. Blah, blah, blah.
No power greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Don't mind me, Ryan Turford. I'm just reading the old Scott Pilgrim comic book right now, Ryan.
Again?
I'm celebrating. It's on Netflix, dude. It's on
That's
Netflix.
True.
It's here.
So you started watching it?
No, not yet.
Oh,
Not
okay.
yet. I need to though.
Seth Sturgill and I have both already finished watching.
You're done?
Well, it's only like so it's 8 20-minute episodes. So it only is about like 3 or 4 hours long. Okay. So it's actually a lot shorter. You think it's basically 2 movies combined together in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So, and it's interesting. I'm really excited to talk to you about it when you're finished it, Sean.
Maybe we'll do it could be anything episode on patreon.com/carpoolgaming, Ryan Turford.
Absolutely. We should probably we haven't even talked about that yet. We should probably talk about that off air. But I hope you're doing well, Sean, because neither of us asked how we're doing yet, Sean, and I've wanted to ask.
No, awful. I'm awful, but thanks for asking.
I'm sorry,
but I went for a good run though this week, Ryan. It's cold as heck, as I'm sure you're already aware. It's been very cold over here. Arctic temperatures, even, Ryan.
Excellent. I'm glad I'm getting the little bit of the weather report now from you, Sean. This is a nice refreshing change because it's a cool, crisp 3 degrees Celsius outside currently. Mostly cloudy. There was some rain earlier today, but chance of precipitation very low at the moment. It's about 10% right now.
10%. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but we are anticipating a cold front coming in from the west a little bit over the weekend.
Me. That's just me.
Interesting. But
the cold front coming from the west is
we already have weather reporters here in Toronto, Sean, talking about the polar vortex if it makes you feel better. So
that's that time of life in Canada. Free healthcare, polar vortexes.
Yeah. You just got to, there's pluses and minuses, Sean. Pluses and minuses. But speaking of pluses and minuses, we should probably clean the garage a little bit because we got a packed show.
Oh, do we?
Believe it or not, Sean, there's more breaking news stories this week than there were the last 3 weeks.
Let's break it all.
News. But before we get into all that, folks at home, if you're watching the live stream right now over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to kick that like button, lightly tap that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already to the channel. And also let us know in the comments below what games you're excited about or what you think about the Game Awards, because we're actually going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, and we would love to hear from you. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, you have a very important job as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to us already on your audio feed of choice. But also, maybe leave us a nice Apple Podcast review. Maybe leave us a Spotify comment, which, by the way, Sean, on episode 314 a couple weeks ago, we actually just got a comment on that this week saying 5 stars. That was the comment with a little very excited face on it. So
I'll take it.
Yeah. So if listeners actually go back and click on that episode, I've published that comment, so you can see it there now.
Was that live at Extra Life? Was that the Extra Life episode?
No, I think it was the episode that happened before when I talked about Sonic. Yes, exactly. So head on over to, if you're on Spotify, make sure to leave comments. That actually helps the algorithm and helps people discover the show, because it's a great way. It gets us up, Sean, in that tier list on Spotify. When you search Xbox on Spotify, the more comments or ratings we get, the higher we get up on that list. So definitely want to do that. And then last but not least, if you want one big podcast feed with the entire Carpool Gaming cinematic universe on it, or some exclusive content, you can head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. And I forgot to vet this before the show, Sean. We got a new gold member. Mayor Brood, there you go. I didn't know because we saw when we get those notifications, Sean, we get the real name of the person. I'm like, I don't know if I want to dox this person. So
all good. No, all good. We checked in on the Discords. They said, thank you for becoming a gold member, our only Austin Powers themed, for some reason, tier, a Patreon. And checked in with Mare Brood. Thank you, Mare Brood. Appreciate that. Joining in that. Dude, the gold tier is kind of exploding right now.
It's getting a lot more people are hopping in on that gold tier, Sean. They get a little taste of it at the exclusive tier, and they're like, you know what? I want more. I want Sean and Ryan to fumble my name during the show. Please let that happen.
Maybe we should have a more tier, MOAR tier.
You know, that's actually a pretty good tier.
That could be.
It's almost as good as Capremium because I actually really like
Premium is good. Yeah,
it kind of just fits in there, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did we say no-nos for formally joining? I think we
did last week. Yeah.
Did they join formally? Because I think they were trying the tryout, and then they jumped in to the exclusive tier. We're gonna whatever we did last week. We're thanking.
It doesn't matter. We're still thanking you nonetheless because patrons.
It doesn't matter.
Yes. I mean that's a callback to last week's show, episode 3.
The wrestling themed episode that we did last week.
The one where it was wrestling themed, where we had 2 references in the like a hour long show, Sean.
Ryan, I have something important to tell you right now.
Okay. I'm excited for super something special. What is it, Sean?
A few moments ago, you would have seen in the Discord, we were playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, celebrating Xenobabes all over the world, of course. But then I had to leave playing Xenoblade to come to this show. But in between then and now, I went upstairs, said hello to my wife, and I spotted something on the kitchen table, Ryan. And it was a cookie. It was a quarter of a gigantic cookie, but still a quarter piece of a cookie. And this cookie, Ryan, looked very tasty. I didn't really look too much at it. I just thought, like, well, looks like a free cookie I might be able to have there.
Yeah.
And Chelsea said I could have it, which was very nice.
Ooh.
And I shoved that thing into my mouth. And then I realized it was a peanut butter and jam cookie, Ryan.
Oh,
this was one of the best things I ever tasted, dude. This was incredible. I think everybody deserves that kind of happiness right in their mouth, Ryan.
The best part is you didn't even need to worry about the crust. No crust at that point. You just got
no crust.
It's all cookie. It's all goodness.
I think the thing that really just kind of jumps out to me, Ryan, and maybe this is no surprise to anybody else who's been listening to me or hanging out with me at all, is that I didn't know what the cookie was until it went into my face. I had no clue what this thing was. I just ate it. It could have been poison.
I was just gonna say it could also be even worse than poison, a raisin cookie. It could have been a raisin cookie.
I like raisin cookies. I like it. I'll take it.
A lot of people that don't, and they think sometimes they're grabbing a chocolate chip cookie, but they're grabbing a raisin cookie instead. They get real upset about that.
Seth says he's all hopped up on cookies and Diet Pepsi. Yeah,
I mean that's not really different from any other episode of the Xbox Drive.
So weird. I'm not losing any weight,
but clearly. But Sean, there's one other thing I wanted to get to because I have an official announcement to make because and this is not on the show document. This is something that I remembered today. It's like, oh yeah, we got a bunch of new games that came out today because we're recording for audio listeners. If you're listening the next day, we're recording this on Friday. Where Super Mario RPG is out today, as well as a Persona 5 Tactica and a bunch of other stuff. But Sean, I don't know if you knew this, but in Fantasy Critic, we have officially basically called the winners at this point. We know who's won each league at this point.
Oh, really?
At this point, the only games that are set to release are Avatar, and that's it. There's no other games really to release this year, except for, of course, Warhammer Space Marine 2, if that actually comes out this year, which I'm still doubting at this point. But either way, the 2 leaders in the Carpool Gaming Fantasy Critic Leagues are so far ahead of the competition at this point that it doesn't matter what the results are from here. So we can project a winner at this point. So
one of them is you.
We are proud to project the winner of League B for the Fantasy Critic League. Drellesh is the winner with 116 points currently. Now, that's off the backs of both Super Mario RPG and Persona 5 Tactica, which both just came out today. Their reviews are still fluctuating, so that number might fluctuate a bit. But he's got a pretty good league on Hambone Johnny at this point, and Hambone Johnny has no games left. So I think it's pretty safe to call the Arcane Archers, aka Drellesh, the winner. So congratulations to Drellesh. But Sean, League A is a much
I know it's
different
you.
story.
Whatever.
The winner of League A is me, the Weatherman on the Moose. Congratulations to me, I guess. Yon32 actually made it pretty interesting, though, coming down to the wire. So, huge shout to Yon32 for giving me some stiff competition. But what's interesting about this, Sean, we are not ready to crown the overall winner of Fantasy Critic, the person with the most points, because currently I'm leading Drellesh only by 1.5 points. And reviews can fluctuate between now and the end of the year. So Drellesh may overtake me as more reviews come in, or I might get a little bit of a lead. So we'll call the official winner of Carpool Gaming Fantasy Critic, probably sometime towards the end of the next month. But for now, it's pretty awesome, Sean, to be on top, to be on the tippy top. I'm ready to grab my crown, start wearing it around because I'm the Fantasy League champ, Sean. It's happening.
I want to talk about Drellesh here a little bit, Ryan. Yeah. I want to take away from that. Drellesh, shout out to Drellesh. What a great lineup. And last pick overall. I think this is how this works out.
Well, funny enough, I was like third last. So like there's a theme. Like if you're picking last, like you're in a pretty good position, I think.
I don't know about that. I don't know if anybody would sign up for last pick. Yeah. Drellish's first pick overall was Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Second was Lies of P, which someone counterpicked. Tech might counterpick that one.
Yeah.
Then he had Cyberpunk 2077, a Phantom Liberty, Theat Rhythm, Final Bar Line, Honkai Star Rail, Persona 5 Tactica. That's the one. And between that and Super Mario RPG, right? Those are the reviews that might kind of fluctuate.
Yeah, because they just came out today. So like they could fluctuate a little bit.
Viewfinder, which I actually don't even know what Viewfinder is, but a great pick sitting at 83. WrestleQuest was really the only miss here, sitting at 69. Nice. And Ghost Runner 2, which got him an 80.
He even had, Sean, a positive, which doesn't happen very often, a positive counterpick, because he actually got points from the counterpick too with Forspoken.
Is that spelled? Is that how Forspoken is spelled?
That's
not how you spell Forspoken.
That is how it's spelled.
Oh, what? Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations to Drellesh. That is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I need to be in fewer of these next year, Ryan. I think maybe the community might be the only one that I do next year.
True.
I got a little carried away.
I mean, you're already you're winning the other one like it's no tomorrow. The Carpool Gaming hosts one.
I feel like I'm the only one paying attention to that one.
Well, you and I are neck and neck on that one. But
okay, let's talk about this. Okay, let's go to the host.
So fun fact, Sean. You have 2 games left, but I don't know if they're coming out this year. You got Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, and you got Elden Ring's DLC. I don't know if either one of them come out. It doesn't matter because you're at 120 points. You're ahead of everyone else. And no one else has any games left except Court. So,
dude, I thought City Skylines was a lock, and that game came out and it's just a mess. The fact that it's sitting at 75 is pretty surprising to me.
Yeah.
Sonic Superstars, I needed to fill in something there.
Right.
Advance Wars 1 and 2. Dude, I don't remember that coming out this year.
Yeah, it was in like the middle of April with like no marketing.
Holy cow.
Nintendo was just like, all right, here you go.
Wow.
Here you go. It's coming out.
Okay, so yeah, you're sitting at 115. You still have a counter pick for Avatar. Ryan.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a choice, Sean. I didn't have a choice because I had to pick something. But
that's a tough one.
I mean, you know what though? I actually think that that's going to be like a 75 to 80 game. So,
so I won.
But you've already been crowned the winner, Sean. I have no other games left.
Yeah, go me.
Positive points, unless somehow Avatar reviews at a 60 or something.
Can you? You know what? That could happen.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, we're going to talk about a game today that I feel like I'm very surprised didn't review at that. So I could be wrong about I could be wrong about review scores. I mean, Seth keeps saying not to count him out because he's got Hollow Knight Silksong, and he's got like 2 empty spaces. I noticed, Seth, the problem is with you've got Ease 10 Nordics, which will not populate unless the North American version comes out this year.
Ooh.
So, because that's an international score. So unless the North American version comes out this year, that's actually just a wash at 0 points there.
And a bunch of blanks. Yeah, you got a lot of blanks in here. The fact he's sitting at 98 with 1, 2, 3, 4 spots blank.
It's also funny
Dang.
here, Sean, that I'm sitting at 115 points and I have -11 for Redfall because I have Redfall.
Oh man.
It's
Well,
too
this
much.
was fun. The other
Yeah.
thing too that we have to look at, and anybody in the community, like, man, we have two, as you noted, we have two community leagues in fantasy league. So what I kind of think we should do too, Ryan, is like total points.
Mhm.
Like what league one was it, A or B?
Ooh, that's
Is that a
interesting.
thing that we can do? Does that make sense?
We can do the math on that. I think it's a runaway with League A, probably.
You think
But-
so?
well,
Oh,
actually,
really?
no. Hold on, because
No,
I
you
think
guys
like, the
got-
two top teams of League A are, or sorry, I meant to say League B. The two top teams at League B are very, very high up, but I think League A is probably more averaged out. Like I'm the only one over 100 points.
Hang on a
But-
second. What is with Garrett Bland's team name here? Destroy Sean Capri?
Look, he wanted to beat you no matter what this year. Okay.
How you doing, Garrett Bland? Sitting at 62 points with like you're not even picking your games here,
Well,
man.
He's got DLC that just never got reviewed. Good call
Oh my
on
gosh.
counterpicking Suicide Squad though.
Oh
'Cause-
yeah, good one. Good one.
yeah. Which by the way, Sean, I don't know if you saw that, but Suicide Squad popped up again this week. It's happening. It's cut. That
I did
that
see
game is
that.
actually factually coming out in February.
Well,
Yeah.
Ryan, I think I need to talk to the patrons about something. I am the upcoming episode on the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons Podcast, your exclusive bonus podcast for supporting Carpool Gaming. And I need to talk about 2024 to them first, and maybe we chat about it next week. But I've got an idea for 2024 that's going to take some serious commitment. So
I'm excited to hear about it.
we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
I mean, the main thing is, we don't have the return. We don't have a returning champion for our league this year because Matt bowed out a little bit earlier this year. So
Come
brand
on,
new
Matt.
champion across
All
our
right.
league. So
Neat.
that's pretty neat. But yeah, I think this was like pretty fun. And yeah, I'm excited to see what we do for Fantasy Critic next year. So I wanted to give that update now that
Nice.
we're like far enough in the year. I think it's pretty safe to crown like the winners at this point. So there you go.
Nice. Well, thanks,
But-
Ryan. Thanks for that.
Oh no, thank you, Sean, because
Oh,
it's time
thank you.
to grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist, and it's time to talk about the games we played, Sean. I know you played Xenoblade Chronicles 3, if you want to talk about that at all, but did you also play any other games this week?
Almost done Call of Duty. I think I've got one mission left. I don't know about you, Ryan. This campaign is not 4 hours long. And I heard Donnie talking about it on PSVG. He said basically the same thing, but I think the game died on him on PC.
Okay.
This game's a little longer than 4 hours. And I actually would like to direct people to go listen to PSVG if you're not already, and if you're interested at all in hearing like an actual good take on Call of Duty. Like I think Donnie, as with anything he talks about, he did a great job of it. But the thing that jumped out to me is like the way I was playing it was very much like a straightforward Call of Duty game. Even when you had like some of these open style missions, you drop in, you got all these different objectives all over the place. Donnie talks about it like a Far Cry game. And I'm like, oh snap. I think that might be the difference here. If anybody's not really enjoying it, like Donnie saw it for what it is. Just do whatever you want. He's driving cars and running people over and all this crazy stuff. And I'm trying to play this like a straightforward Call of Duty game. And it's like, it doesn't really work like that. So I feel like I've kind of like missed a little bit here. And I'm interested to maybe go back to some of these missions and try to play it a little bit differently.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I don't know, man. It's one of those things that it's Call of Duty and it's out this year. So I'm playing it. And I just don't know if I really feel too much more attachment to it. And it's not disappointing or anything. It's just, it is what it is. But like I said, I just started playing Xenoblade. That might be the damn game, dude. That might be the
Nice.
one.
I mean,
So-
I'm happy to report, Sean, that I've actually opened my copy of Xenoblade Chronicles
be a
3,
Xenobabe with us. Yes.
but I mean, I don't know if I'm going to play it because we'll talk about the games I've been playing in a second. But I'm playing a lot that's occupying my time right now.
Okay.
But it's definitely on the list because, like, I feel like I can play through games pretty quickly. Like, I can give you guys a bit of a head start. Sean's like, well, la-di-da.
Me. I do want. I hear Court and Matt talking about Call of Duty on or Mort as their couple name is on the PlayStation Drive. Playing multiplayer in Call of Duty, and I am still looking forward to getting to that. That is a big reason why I buy these games, and so a little Call of Duty. I don't know. I feel so like middle about it. So I'm like, you know me. I like
Yeah.
to be excited about things. I like to come at you with
Right.
all my enthusiasm and all that stuff. And it's just like I'm playing it. I'd like
But
to
I will
talk about
say-
it, but it's like there's not much to say.
I will say, Sean, that you feel it sounds to me like you're more excited about it now than you were last week when we talked about it. So at least like
Oh,
I'm
I mean,
seeing
yes.
it go in the positive direction here, which I think is a good sign.
There's been a couple cool, very cool missions. There's been, some backhanded deception. Some stuff happening in the story, which I like. And there are some missions, and this might just be my Canada showing, Ryan. When it goes to like the tundra, when it goes to like these Arctic settings, the game is gorgeous, but there are some levels where it looks like trash. It is so strange, the visual quality. But I haven't seen anything like the mission where you run around as whatever her face is, trying to sneak around the Russian base.
Yeah.
That's a terrible mission.
Oh
But
my
there's been other fun stuff. So
yeah, I'm excited to play it when it comes to Game Pass because like I think that at this point that I'm just gonna just wait until next year to play it, especially because I haven't even played the Modern Warfare 2 campaign at this point, and I kind of want to do them all in a row. So I think like that's what I'm going to do. There's no reason for me to pick it up now, I think, because there's too many games.
I think I might be playing it just because I can finish it. Honestly,
True.
that might be a pretty big factor for me, is that this game is short and I can complete it. And I don't know. I don't like that, to be honest with you, but it really is a factor. So it is what it is.
Nice. Well, as for me, Sean,
you've been playing good games. So
speaking of short games, I decided that it would be fun to pick up and play Baldur's Gate 3 this week. Start trying that game out because we're getting close to Game of the Year time, Sean, and I needed to make sure that I at least tried Baldur's Gate. I've talked about it in the past where CRPGs, like computer, like old school RPGs, like Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale, like just aren't my thing. But I always like to give game like genres a try that I'm not really into, because maybe that's the one that changes me on it. And Sean, let me tell you what. In 2.5 days, I spent about 20 hours with this game.
Yeah, too much, Ryan. That's too much. You burnt yourself out. I know this story.
Baldur's Gate, yes, because I talked about an RPG game a little bit this week, but I really wanted to like this game. I like the story. I like the characters, but man, I just don't like the act of playing Baldur's Gate 3. If I'm being honest, like it's just honestly,
slow.
It's not for me. I don't know if I can continue doing it. I kind of wanted to like put it down, to your point, Sean, because maybe it's just burnout. Maybe I went at it a little too hard, and maybe give it some time. Maybe over the holidays is probably when I, go back and give this game another try. Especially because it might be coming to Xbox soon. Speaking of one of the news stories, I'll just bring up now. Larry and the studio that makes Baldur's Gate 3, they announced it's still coming out on Xbox this year, and we're getting a release date in December. So sometime in December, we're getting a
December
release date,
7.
and it's coming out in December. So yeah, to your point, Sean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Shadow Drop during the Game Awards.
Exactly.
So,
is anybody going to be surprised? Like, that's one thing that I think we can all guess is going to happen, but still, when it happens, it'll be exciting.
Right.
Like, yeah, I saw that coming, and that is awesome. That would be really cool. There are lots of shadow drops, so like we do kind of expect that sort of thing, whether it's a new beta to jump into, or like that'd be a big deal. Ryan, did you see that they were talking about? Larian was talking about developing this game and trying to work with the limitations of the Series S, but I guess that by doing so, they've actually discovered certain ways to program the game that is actually improving it on PlayStation and PC.
Yeah, I saw that article, which was really interesting. Like a lot of optimization tricks that they learned with the Series S, which is like super interesting to hear about game design wise. So like, yeah, like I'm interested to see what the Xbox version is going to look like, and especially like how it's going to even run on Series S. I think it'll be really interesting too.
I just can't imagine playing that with a controller. That's mouse and keyboard territory for me.
Whereas that game feels like I don't want to touch it with the keyboard or mouse. I only want to play with the controller.
Okay.
Especially because I like the quality of life improvements they made with just, zooming the camera down to the battlefield or just walking around. Like I feel like just walking around and exploring the environment, I'd rather do that with the controller versus mouse and keyboard, I think. But
I can't wait to jump. I got to jump back into Baldur's Gate. That could be a thing. But I'll talk about that maybe more next week, Ryan. I got some stuff to talk to the patrons about first.
Yeah, and I will say, to Baldur's Gate credit, I now know why people really like this game. Like whether it's, you know, the like awesome characters and relationships that you have with them, to the story and how deep you can go with your character customization and customizing your party. Like I get why people like this game a lot. So I'm glad that I've at least played it, because at least I can see that now. I can see why Drellesh could not stop talking about this game after it came out. So, you know, even though I didn't personally enjoy it from like a critic standpoint, I can definitely see why this is like one of the best rated games of the year after playing it. So I'm glad I at least tried it. But
needs more Pete.
Yes, I clearly, Sean. Well, speaking of strategy games and role-playing games, I've also been playing a little game for the last 3.5 weeks, mind you, called Persona 5 Tactica. Of course, huge thank you to our friends over at ScheiGuy for sending that over. I've been playing on Xbox, Sean. I've been playing Persona 5 Tactica on Xbox, not on PlayStation, not on Switch.
Whoa.
Xbox. I'm first of all, before I get into, you know, my thoughts on Persona 5 Tactica, because I have a few things to say about it. One, it's been so awesome to actually be able to play a game like this day one on Xbox. You know, we've been seeing, you know, this tide turn with a lot of role-playing games coming to Xbox, a lot more Japanese games coming to Xbox. And the fact that we're seeing day and date releases come not just to Xbox, but come into Game Pass like this, like it's so special. Like as someone who's been a fan of Persona for a very long time, and that series really being associated with PlayStation, I'm so glad that Sega's finally gotten the message that this series should be on every platform. Like, even though I'm happy it's on Xbox, I'm also happy that it's on Switch and on PC and everywhere where games are available, not just on PlayStation. Like, I'm so thankful that Sega decided to do this, and it sounds like the move is making dividends, because they were talking to investors this week about their upcoming plans, and someone asked them about Persona 6. And it really gave us like an insight into their mindset about what they're planning for that release, because they talked about it where, you know, they could just release it on PlayStation. It might sell 1 million units, but if they sell Persona 6 across every platform day one, it might get to 5 million units for Persona 6. Like that's what they're kind of forecasting at this point. So I feel like this has just changed their whole strategy, where they finally realized, yes, this is what we should have been doing from the beginning. Just release the games on, you know, Nintendo consoles and Xbox. So just wanted to give them a shout out for doing that.
Hindsight is 2020 on that sort of thing too. Like you never know what's going to happen with a new IP, and there's got to be benefits to just developing for a single system.
And at the time, it made sense for them to do that with, you know, Persona 3 and 4 and then 1 and 2, because at the time, you know, the original Xbox just didn't have role-playing games on it, let alone Japanese role-playing games on it. And then the GameCube was even though people like the GameCube now, at the time the GameCube was a bit of a failure, like as far as like sales wise, not as big as something like the Wii U was, but it was definitely like the console sales wise that was just barely above Xbox in second place, versus the PS2 was just where everyone was at. So it made sense for that, you know, franchise to be exclusive to PlayStation at the time, and definitely even in the 360 era. You know, I would agree with the sentiment of maybe keeping it PlayStation exclusive. But now, like, we just have so many more RPG franchises on Xbox now that it just feels like RPGs are very much at home on Xbox. Especially like Garrett and I did an episode of RPG Cave a couple weeks ago talking about how Xbox somehow, after all the acquisitions, they're now probably the biggest creator of Western RPGs, period, at this point. You know, they've got Obsidian, they've got Blizzard, they've got a bunch of different role-playing studios under their wing now.
In Exile.
Yes, and they're publishing more Western RPGs than just about anyone out there at this point. So it's interesting to see kind of the tide turning a little bit, where Xbox in a lot of ways is becoming a home for role-playing games. And I'm glad we're finally starting to see that trickle down to the Japanese side of things as well, where now, you know, Japanese developers can now see Xbox as a home as well as PlayStation, which I think is great to see. But
I like it. So what is this game?
So what is this game, mind you? So Persona 5 Tactica is the newest spin-off in the Persona series. It takes place story-wise between Persona 5 and Persona 5 Strikers, which was kind of like the spin-off sequel that they did with Omega Force. And this is actually a tactical role-playing game, very similar to a game that I know you like, Sean, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh,
Because
I do like that game.
Essentially what happens is, the story is told through almost like a visual novel setting where the characters talk to each other, and there's this overarching story where the characters get sucked into the metaverse, and there's this big shadow character that's kind of charming all of the citizens under her control, and the Persona 5 team just has to try and take her down and kind of free everyone from her control. But one of the things what got me really excited about it was, from just the trailers before playing the game, was just seeing how much freedom you have with the combat. So you have 3 different characters from Persona 5 that you can bring in with your party at a time. Similar party size again to something like Mario plus Rabbids, where and it's not like a grid-based tactics game. You have like a little circle that each of the characters can run in, and you can run anywhere within that circle. There's lots of different cover that you can hide behind, and depending on what type of cover you're behind, you're either going to be, have the attacks deal less damage to you or no damage to you if you're behind like a really big piece of cover. And likewise, just like Mario Rabbids, there's actually a big emphasis on using melee attacks to knock the enemies out of cover, so then you can deal extra damage to them. Nice. Or in the very much Persona fashion, if you hit an enemy that's not in cover, it'll automatically do a critical hit and then knock them down, and then you can do like a triple attack with your 3 characters and do some serious damage against any of the enemies that are in the range of the kind of triangle you form with your 3 characters. So there's a lot of like it starts off deceptively easy. It starts off as a pretty easy experience, but it gets hard really quick. And you really have to learn the mechanics of the game, because it's a very deep mechanical game. But I actually love this game, Sean. I know it's got kind of, some reviews that are around the 6s, and then a lot of reviews very much in the 8 and 9 range. And that's kind of where I would sit with this game. It's not perfect. It definitely has flaws, especially with the pacing, because the beginning of the game can be a little slow, and then the end of the game is a little bit of a slog. But that chunk in the middle is so good that I'm actually really, really enjoying my time with Persona 5 Tactica. I'm not finished yet, because this is, as you've heard on the show over multiple weeks, I've been playing so many games that over the last 3.5 weeks that I've had the game, it's kind of been my game where I kind of play a couple rounds and then do something else and then kind of move on. I keep, I've been playing it in bite-sized chunks every single day since I've had access to the game. And I've been really having a lot of fun with Persona 5 Tactica. So it's on Game Pass, so anyone can go try this. The one thing I will say, though, if you haven't played Persona 5, it will spoil Persona 5. So if you have any inclinations of playing Persona 5, you should play it first.
Which is on Game Pass.
Actually, it's not anymore.
Oh, did it go away?
Game Pass last month. Because
Xbox, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, they didn't give them a big enough bag of money, Sean.
More bags of money.
Yeah,
you can have,
which is also a knock, I would say, against the game for it being, almost having a requirement of playing Persona 5. Because I feel like a game like this, especially on Game Pass, might be a great way of getting new fans into the series, and having the story so intrinsically tied to Persona 5 is great for fans like me. But it just makes it so much harder for me to recommend it to new players.
Yeah,
who I think actually
I wouldn't
really
play this
yet. Yeah, because if it wasn't so tied to Persona 5, Sean, I actually would say you should give this a try, because I think you might actually really like it. But because it is so tied to it, it would be tougher to get into the story.
How am I going to play Persona, man? I want to play Baldur's Gate. I want to play Xenobabes. I want to do all the things, man. Dang it. Okay, well, I'm glad you played it, man. I'm glad this is a thing. It's one of you remember when it was rumored? There's going to be a Persona Tactics game. That's awesome.
Oh, no, they weren't even rumoring Persona 5 Tactics. It was Persona 5T. We saw the data mine of that. And then I just threw out the nonsense tweet on Twitter, Persona 5 Tactics. And then that's what it ended up being announced. And we were like, how did I predict this? Which is because they've never done a tactics game like this before. So I think also I should say this is a great first effort from the Persona team on a tactics game like this. And I would love to see them do another one like this at some point, another either crossover game with other, Persona games or
Persona
some
4
other
Tactica.
Yeah. Or even Persona Q, where they have multiple, the characters from multiple games meet up. So like Persona 3, Persona 4, and Persona 5 characters could all be in the same game. Like that would be kind of cool.
That gives me Flintstones meets the Jetsons vibes, Ryan.
I like that though. I mean, it's just like the Wolfman meets Frankenstein, you know, the old
Freddy versus Jason.
1940s Universal movies, or Freddy versus Jason, Sean.
Okay.
There should never be a Baldur's
Gate
3% crossover ever. Sorry, Drellesh. But
yeah.
Also, I'm just going out there. I played a lot of World of Warcraft this week. That's an Xbox game now, Sean. Because
what is going on? Is there an expansion? I see a bunch of people firing up World of Warcraft.
So there is a new expansion coming next year. In fact, they announced 3 new expansions at BlizzCon for World of Warcraft because they're they decided they're going to be releasing like shorter expansions over the next 3 years. And it's like it's almost having like their like end game moment with World of Warcraft in a lot of ways, where they're kind of coming to the end of like the storyline they've been building in World of Warcraft for the last 20 years since it first came out in 2004 at this point. So it's been really cool to kind of revisit the game and go back to it. So just throwing it out there, giving it a shout out because World of Warcraft's a special game, Sean. I've met so many amazing friends through World of Warcraft. So of course I love it very much, but let's slam the brakes on this World of Warcraft talk, Sean, because it's time for some breaking news. Couple quick news stories I wanted to get to. Number one, if I didn't mention this one, Court Lalonde would probably hop on the show and be very angry with us because Xbox is giving away a Bluey custom console, Sean, and controller over on their Twitter page. I had to mention it, Sean, because have you seen this console? It looks ridiculous.
The face that I'm making that you might be picking up on, Ryan, is one of frustration. Not that this exists, but it is not for sale. I can't remember. One of the Toms online said this. Like the Xbox would sell a million Series X's if they just sell this thing. What are they doing with these giveaways, man? Like this thing that's like a Lamborghini here and a Bluey over here. Like sell these things. What are you doing over there, Xbox? Like it's easy. You can just that Series X is a beautiful shape for something simple like this, and they should just be going nuts with it. And I can't believe it, man. I can't believe it.
It should be on Design Labs. I don't know why they're not doing that. Like, can you have any idea, Sean, how many Bluey custom consoles they would sell if they put this on Design Labs? Like, even just for a week, you can only get it for a week. Like, people would shell out money for this because I don't know if you noticed, Sean, but people love Bluey, and I didn't realize how much people love Bluey.
Bluey is awesome, dude. Bluey is legit one of the best shows ever created. It is so good. This seems like such a no-brainer, and it's a sad miss. Of course, Ryan, celebrating the release of what I thought you were going to say is the release of Outright Games' Bluey video game. I can't remember what the hell the game's called.
It's just got a long title, but I'm just referring to it as Bluey the video game.
Yeah,
at this point, but no reviews for it yet. We're still waiting for reviews for Bluey the video game at this point. But it's interesting. So, in fact, actually, I think someone in League B has Bluey the video game on their Fantasy Critic, Sean.
I'd love to see the box if you were to buy Bluey, the Series X Xbox. It's like the most powerful console ever, the most powerful Xbox ever made. 12 teraflops coming in Bluey style. Yeah.
If only it was themed around the dad, though, because the dad from Bluey is like my spirit animal, Sean. I feel like him and I connect a lot.
Same.
So I feel like I wish it was like themed after the dad from Bluey.
We all should want to be like the dad from. Is it Bingo? I think it's Bingo. I think his name's Bingo.
I don't think his name's Bingo, but I don't remember.
No,
I haven't seen Bluey in a long time.
No, that's the sister. No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Bandit.
Bandit. Yeah, they're they all start with B. It's very confusing, Sean. But
Bluey dad was Bandit. Yeah, I got it there.
There you go. Okay. You got there.
Bandit.
And also, Sean, other news story I wanted to quickly point out: there are almost 1,000 games on sale right now as part of Xbox's Black Friday sale. Controllers, consoles are also on sale. So because we have people who listen to this all the time that don't have Xboxes yet, if you're waiting for an Xbox console, like now's the time to probably act on them because they're on sale right now. But there's also a ton of games on sale. So definitely check out the store, or if you actually go over to the Xbox Wire, they have a full list of all 1,000 games that are on sale, including all of the percentages and stuff.
I'm going to Xbox Wire right now, Ryan.
Yeah.
I love these end of year sales, man. I go nuts with these, obviously. But I might have to come back to you with this because I'm just checking.
Because I was gonna say, because I usually do too. If I wasn't moving, I definitely probably would be, like jumping all over the sale at this point. But
Oh,
yeah, lots
look,
of good
Assassin's
games.
Creed Mirage is on sale
Oh, look at
already.
that!
Oh,
What a
shocking.
surprise, John.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally surprised.
Also, the more egregious one is that EA Sports FC and NHL are both on sale because those actually came out
They
even
did
sooner,
just come out.
even more recently than AC at this point.
Right. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, 95% off. Star Wars Squadron, 95% off. Holy crap,
It's because they know, Sean. They know that you can get they're part of your subscription. So
That's true.
They got to make it as cheap as possible to get people to actually buy them. There's a lot of like good, especially if you're into like Xbox 360 backwards compatible games. Like there's a lot of good ones in there, like Dungeons and Dragons, Chronicles of Mystara, which is a great beat 'em up game, which is a port of an arcade game. That game is like $3 right now, and it's really, really, really good. So throwing it out there.
Assassin's Creed Origins or Oranges is 85% off.
Assassin's Creed Oranges.
Yes.
In fact, I think almost every Assassin's Creed game is on sale at the moment if you don't own any Assassin's Creed games.
It always makes me wonder, why would I ever buy games not at this time?
Right.
Why am I buying anything not during this? Like, I should just like not buy anything until it's November, December. That's when I go crazy. And then I don't buy anything for the rest of the year.
Well, it's part of the strategy though, Sean, because there are certain games that never go on sale. So it's just like the ones will never go on sale are the ones you buy right away. And then you can probably wait on some of this other stuff. Because think about how much more time you would have had for Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate hasn't gone on sale since they put the game out for sale.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to predict that, actually. I don't know that I would have necessarily.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
like first party Nintendo games, first party PlayStation games.
Those PlayStation games go on sale quite a lot, and I'm actually shocked. I think they shouldn't do that. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually think probably all platform holders should do what Nintendo does. Like, and again, it's not a very good consumer thing to say. Of course, I love sales, but like Nintendo, you just know, and they get me because of it. Like I buy games day one just because I know it's as inexpensive to do that as it would be 4 years later.
Well, that's why I bought Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at launch, John, because it finally went on sale now, and I just assumed I would have played it by now. But Tears of the Kingdom, when's Tears of the Kingdom going to go on sale? It's probably not going to go on sale for like 2 years at this point.
So, nope. I don't even think Breath of the Wild's been on sale.
It's been on sale, but it took like 4 years for Breath of the Wild to actually go on sale, Sean. Like it was a really
Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, 85% off. I'm clicking through to these things, Ryan. I'm just getting error pages, which is why I'm giving you guys percentages. It's probably like $4.
Right. I mean, don't you mean Sleepy Dogs, Sean? Because that's whenever Wario64 posts that Sleeping Dogs is on sale, he has the little box art of Sleepy Dogs.
Oh my gosh. Doom 2016, 80% off. You guys go check out the sale. What are you doing?
I mean, Fear 2 is on sale, Sean, for $9.
Dude, I just off. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, lots of good games to pick from. So definitely go check out the sale while games are on.
Resident Evil, Ryan. I need to ask you about. I think I asked you about this last year, like to try and explain all these things. I don't know if I'll do it right now, but it's just I'm looking at it right now. I got the Revelations. I've got the Zeros, the Raccoon Cities.
There's a lot of Resident Evil games on Xbox.
This is very confusing.
Yeah. Well, Sean, let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool. We're going to start with Nagachaka, whose question I forgot to read it earlier when I was talking about Persona 5 Tactica. But Nagachaka asks, is Persona 5 Tactica the best spin-off from the series when compared to Persona 5 Strikers and Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight? Do you think we'll get even more Persona 5 spin-offs in the future? So Nagachaka, first off, it's probably my favorite Persona 5 spin-off. I only say probably because I really liked Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight. But I think Persona 5 Tactica is probably my favorite of the three. Strikers is definitely my least favorite of the three, but I think Tactica, very, very, very good. As far as if we get Persona 5 spin-offs in the future, I think they're going to take a break from Persona 5 for a little bit, unless they do like I mentioned before, like a crossover game between some franchises, because we've got Persona 3 Reload coming out in a couple months. And then we'll have Persona 6 around the corner from there. And if they do another spin-off game between then, I think it'll actually be more likely a Persona 3 or 4 spinoff, or even a Persona 1 and 2 spinoff, like going all the way, way, way back. So that's my thought process. I think they're going to pump the brakes a little bit on the Persona 5 cast. We've gotten a lot of them, and I think they know it's time to move on a little bit. But
Ryan, the world needs a crossover though. That doesn't exist. Nobody has asked for this, but I'm just going to give it to you because this is the correct answer. Persona Rock Band. That's what we need.
that
We need
sounds
a
awesome.
whole Rock Band game dedicated to the Persona soundtracks. Do all of them.
But
That's
we
what
already
need.
have that with the Persona dancing games.
No, that's not.
That's
Nobody wants to
literally what you just
dance.
described. The only difference is you're not using the guitar controller. You're
That's a
press-
huge difference.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Play and sing along, and you got the drums, you got the guitars, and the microphone like that. I want.
But
we
most
want
of those
that.
songs don't have guitars in them. It'd be
You can-
hard.
You can make it happen. Well, then you play
Yeah.
the piano.
Yeah, that's true. That
You
yeah,
keep it on my
I'd
dream.
finally have another use, Sean, for my keyboard controller for Rock Band.
Rock
3.
Band 4.
I can
or
pull it
3.
out of my closet, and it'll actually be useful for something. But
Do whatever you want to do, then, Ryan.
absolutely. Well, next up we got blah 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 574, who says, "What flavor would be What flavor would you say the Xbox brand is? We know it's a color is green. Sound is that little power of ding. I'd argue a good shape is rectangle because of the X, and they've always been boxy consoles. But I need to know the flavor." I was wondering where that question was going because we went some places talking about the box shape and stuff like that. We got this answered a little bit, Sean, because on the official Xbox podcast this week, they actually developed the first ever edible Series X and controller, and it's like chocolate flavored because I guess it was a partnership with Willy Wonka of all things. So
What are they doing? Oh,
because
my
of course they
God.
are.
Who cares about that?
I don't know either. So I guess chocolate flavored because we kind of know the answer. Although, honestly, when I look at the Xbox green, Sean, I think of like the green slime from Ghostbusters,
Nice.
and what that would kind of taste like. I'm just like, it'd just be
Mm,
lime.
toxic.
Like it's lime flavored, I guess. But what do you think?
My mind first went to Mountain Dew for some strange reason. But then as soon as you started to introduce chocolate, I'm going mint chocolate Girl Guide cookies flavor.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's what
a
I'm
good
doing.
one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a chomp out of that thing, just like a big Toblerone bar. That Series X tower, just like hump right
Yeah.
out of the top.
I mean, Jeff Rubenstein tried to do that, and it didn't work out so well.
Now he doesn't have teeth.
He's like 10 out of it was great. It was a great experience, but the dentist would kill me if I tried that again. So there you go. But last question of the week comes to us from Cwaggy. So not
Cwaggy.
Cwagmire, but Cwaggy. Because I guess that's Cwagmire's new nickname is Cwaggy. Cwaggy says, thoughts on the Game Awards nominations? Any surprises, snubs, etc. Now, Sean, before I go to you on this one, I have to do a full disclosure, and I did this full disclosure on RPG Cave this week when we actually got a similar question. I have to be like outright about something real quick. So the company I work for at my day job, the Canadian Broadcast Corporation, or the CBC, we announced that we are actually part of the voting board for the Game Awards. We are part of the jury. So as a result, I will be abstaining from any questions about predictions or snubs or things like that from the Game Awards, because that kind of puts me in a little bit of a tricky situation. But I defer to you, Sean, because honestly, I would love to know what you think about the Game Awards nominations and if you thought there were any surprises or snubs, because that's been a big topic. I don't know if you knew this, Sean, but it was a big topic on Twitter this week where certain words were trending, and I'm just like, what's going on here? Why is this happening?
Oh, the Xbox tax or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't want to
people-
say it, but
Yeah,
it's bad.
no, I mean, I'll say it. I don't care, Ryan. I've gotten to my IDJAF GEAF era. I can't even say it out loud, Ryan. I don't know if I feel like there's any snubs here. It's been, I guess, maybe the one thing that maybe we'll see at the Game Awards. Like, I hope that there's some sort of like recognition that this is such a ridiculous year. Like, this can't be your normal award show. Like every year you get 5 games nominated for best art direction, 5 games nominated for whatever else. It's like, dude, can we have just like, this was just an amazing year, and maybe that can solve for whatever game is missing, because the number of spots didn't increase, at least as far as I could tell.
Nope,
Like-
it's all the same from last year.
Everything is the same. And like, if there was ever going to be a year like what the Oscars did at some point, I think they went from like 5 to 10 best picture awards. Like, this would have been the year to do it. You could have had a game from every month of the year or something like that. I think that'd be interesting. But like, I don't know, dude, like as someone who I'll speak to the argument against, Starfield maybe for a second. Like, I think that's what is on a lot of people's minds is where's Starfield in this mix? First of all, my disclaimer is like, I haven't played a lot of games this year. So I feel like I don't really have a definitive answer on this, just at least from experience. So maybe I'll just have some fun with it and go like, I don't know anything about anything. So I'm going to make some real judgmental calls about what's been nominated for Game of the Year, which also I think that's just how people are on the internet. I think they're exactly like me. Yeah. They haven't played half these games and they've got all these comments. So I'll just say that for now.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, to your point, Sean, like, you know, it's been such a ridiculous year. Obviously, like something big was going to get left off. Like, I'm actually surprised there wasn't the outrage about Street Fighter, because Street Fighter was one of the highest rated games of the year. It had a 92 and it didn't get done because that's just how tough of a year it was. Like there was going to be I feel like when I look back at this year, Sean, there's like a crop of like 20 or 30 games that could realistically make like a game of the year nominee at the Game Awards this year. And how do you distill from that? Like, obviously there's going to be some hurt feelings there with some games not making it. So I totally get that from that.
One thing I will say that caught me by surprise was Cyberpunk 2077 in ongoing game, which I feel like by including that game in this category, and maybe to a certain, that's I just learned Roman numerals in real time. Yeah, Ryan, that's Final Fantasy 14, which absolutely deserves to be there. I feel like in this category, one of these things is not like the other. You got Apex Legends, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Genshin Impact, and Cyberpunk 2077, and I just feel like 4 out of 5 prove what this category is all about, and the 5th one was in there because someone thought Cyberpunk 27 was cool and they tried to figure out a way to celebrate Phantom Liberty. You know, like, is there not a best DLC category?
Well, actually, Phantom Liberty's nominated somewhere else as well, Sean.
In where?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the nominees, but it's up for another award, but I can't remember which.
And I'm not like offended by it. I just think like if you're asking for like my commentary on it, that might be as controversial as I see this. But like, dude, I'm waiting for them to finish Starfield. Like I've said that a number of times over the last couple of weeks. I'm waiting for maps. I'm waiting for these modes to come to the PC version. And so like, how can you argue for that game to show up in a Game of the Year category in one of the greatest years of all time? You know, like, I guess you can run through this one by one. I didn't play Alan Wake 2. You say it's amazing. Ed Placencia says it's one of the best games he's played in his entire life.
We gotta let you see the gospel that is Alan Wake 2.
I do really want to check it out.
To get you in it. And actually, Matt just finished it this weekend. He also loved it too.
I mean, yeah. The one thing that I like, maybe you take out Resident Evil 4. You know, I think that's one that maybe exists in its own category of remakes and remasters and whatnot.
Yeah, it's tough because that's not a category, which is something that, people have been saying for a long time. It should be a category.
That definitely should be a category. Yeah. So that might be one. And I've heard arguments for Spider-Man 2 being not as like, innovative as others, but I haven't played throughout the whole thing, but I could see how that's a thing.
Oh my god.
Nintendo just like
so good. I love it.
And that's the other, I still got that I got to play. So I'm just a mess here.
Yeah.
So I'm also just going to enjoy the show, Ryan. I'm going to sit down and enjoy the show and celebrate the damn games that came out this year.
Fun fact. I looked it up. Cyberpunk's actually up for 4 awards. They're up for best narrative, best performance, best ongoing, and best community support.
I mean, I kind of like the fact that, like, whatever you're going to call it, DLC, expansion pack, whatever it is, like the lines are so blurred at this point. I kind of like that just doesn't seem to hold it back, that it's still being able to be celebrated in this way. I think that's neat.
I love that makes room, Sean, for potential Game of the Year nominee next year, Final Fantasy 14 at Dawn Trail, to make an appearance, because this just sets a precedent, Sean, that it's possible.
What was the last Final Fantasy 14? Was it Endwalker or something like that?
Endwalker. It was the highest rated game of the year that it came out in, and it was not nominated for anything.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought it was. Like, I remember being nominated or rated really well.
Yeah, it got a 94 on Metacritic.
It's interesting,
but so it's possible that that Dawn Trail could be good. Get there. next year. But yeah, it'll be interesting to watch the show. I'm excited to watch it on the 7th, and we'll have awesome trailers to watch and some great awards to give it away. And we're still, I think, figuring out our plans on how we're going to watch it. We might just watch it in the Discord, I think.
I think we're just watching in Discord.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. So definitely come and hang out with us if you're interested in watching the Game Awards on December 7th.
Yeah, we avoid a bunch of like copyright nonsense that surely will happen. And if anybody wants to bounce out, because like, unless it's different than previous years, these things tend to be long and you get a little tired by the end. So if you want to bounce out, that's all good too. So, but I was just trying to like remind myself what this year was. So I just very quickly, Ryan, on OpenCritic, I sorted by, by Metacritic or OpenCritic score. And I feel like what we see here is fine. You know what's in the category for at least game of the year. I'm not going to go through all the categories. I think that's okay. Yeah.
And we talked about with Starfield a long time ago, Sean. Like Starfield was just, some people really loved Starfield, but it was also, some people also really did not like that game. And it was really like a very polarizing game in a lot of ways. So that's just a tougher sell for a large.
I will say, like, it feels bad for like one of Xbox's and Bethesda's biggest games in recent memory. Just an absolute juggernaut, a huge blockbuster, a big deal, a lot of focus on it. Doesn't show up in Game of the Year.
Yeah,
that is a bummer for, like, if you care about that sort of thing, then I can understand. It seems like a lot of people do care about that kind of thing. I skipped over it completely, honestly. It was like, I don't have maps, so no thanks.
For sure. Well, anyway, Sean, I think that's going to do it for episode 317 of the Xbox Trap. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
You can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants, and most Fridays at twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live, unless we're playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the Discord, Ryan, which I just, that's the one I really want to highlight. Come on into the Discord. We have new people coming in pretty much every single day, and they all get welcomed. We celebrate birthdays like no other community. We say good morning to each other. The Discord is really popping off. So I think come on in. Don't be shy. Introduce yourself. We're all very kind people. And it's all good there.
We're all friends, Sean. Friends. We're friends.
Watch Scott Pilgrim, Ryan.
Watch Scott Pilgrim takes off, please, because we like Scott Pilgrim and we want more of it at some point. But as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. You can find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming, right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 317 of the Xbox Drive, and we're out. Bye.
I see everybody in the chat who wants us to do Carpool Gaming Awards and Podcast Awards and stuff like that. I don't really know what that's going to mean or whatever, so you guys got to be more specific. So jump on into the Discord and tell me what you think, because I'm in for the idea, and we'll see y'all next week. Okay, bye-bye.
No power greater than X.